Hey everybody, hi Kevin. Remove this. There we go. Let's situate myself here. I should probably just shift this whole thing. Oh, that's dumb. I should move the camera other way. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, today's Thursday. I don't normally stream on Thursday, so I'm only going to stream for a half day. And we got done with the enchanter yesterday, as I wrote in this text. I think we're just going to jump right to working on the difficulty slider. That's what I have written down. I have this stuff here, which I need to take care of in the afternoon. Yeah. Yeah, okay. And then Friday, I don't know what Friday's going to be. What else do we have? I guess either continue the difficulty slider or work on battle stats. Yeah. Morning, how's it going? It's going well. May send the final PR for the battle panel latest tomorrow morning in case that changes your plans. I don't think it does, because I think the way we're going to do this is I'll just add in some radio buttons for the difficulty, and that way it's just as easy as possible. So, and whoops, can't do things that way. In here, I'll just slam some buttons somewhere. It doesn't need to look nice because I know it's going to get deleted. And I feel like that'll take 2 minutes. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time or anything. Hey, Puppet. A surprising Thursday stream. No, just a surprise one. It's not surprising once you're actually here. Okay, so somewhere Dark had made a PR. I don't think there was a PR. I think it was on a branch. Yeah, and I don't know where that branch is. So I gotta go find this. Give me a sec. Yeah, this branch. Wait a second. I could have sworn I wrote this down somewhere. Maybe I did in the issue. Yeah, here it is. And yes, there it is. Okay, I knew I wrote it somewhere. Let's try that again. Let me put chat over here. And then let's do that. Cool. Okay, so I'm all set up now. By the way, I thought of some ideas this morning. Ideas. We could just do something like we had for idle ascendants. Like multipliers on specific stats. I want to look at that. Where did I put this? Idle ascendants there. Script. I don't know where this exists. Maybe in game. No, there was something I did with stat multipliers. Oh my God. Okay, I did this in a dumb way. I was wondering if it was the way I was planning on doing now. This was really stupid. Every single character in that game was just a set of stat multipliers. And there was no concept of you get to set the stats for each individual enemy. The way I want to do things for this game, Skeleton Seller, we have already defined. In fact, I don't need to type this out. I could just show you. All instance data. We have, or no, not there. All enemy data. We have all of the base stats for every enemy in the game. So for example, orange plant, well, we never filled out, but this worm. Worm has 23 attack and 400 life. Because we have those base stats, what I was thinking of doing is we just make something like power multiplier, health multiplier, and fortitude multiplier. And this will let us figure out like easy, medium, hard. So we can just make a couple of multipliers. So maybe we say that on average, the power multiplier should be like whatever, 1.4 for medium mode. The health multiplier should be 1.6, and the fortitude multiplier really doesn't matter at all because we don't ever use it. But something like this. And then hard mode could be the same thing plus, a little bit more. So maybe we do like times 1.5. And there, that's hard mode. And we just should have rounded it. It's going to be per instance per enemy. I was thinking per instance, And I'm hoping it just works. But I don't know. There's another design philosophy bit here about like what do easy, medium, and hard represent. So is medium like +2 levels beyond the base? Is it just always a level of, let's say, 5 or something like that? And I think it should be relative to the original, which is why I think these things should just be relative to the original. And I want to write that down too. Thoughts/ideas. In idle ascendance, we defined pretty much every enemy as a set of multipliers from a single base enemy, which was not great. In Skeleseller, we won't have that problem since we have we have unique base enemies. Now we might want to modify abilities or something for bosses. I'm still not totally sure how I want to do that. Also, I guess we need to change how bosses work. They probably shouldn't level up any longer. Also, maybe you shouldn't be able to repeat the fights at all. No, you should be able to repeat the fights. Maybe you only get loot on beating them the first time. I don't know. We got to design that too. Hey, Tyler. Is it difficulty change just for added challenge, or will there be a reward for taking on higher difficulty? There's going to be a reward as well. Yeah. So if you get something like, let's say, 1 to 3 potions from the battle, maybe on medium, you'll get, I'm just making up numbers here, 2 to 4 potions. And maybe on hard mode, you get like 3 to 5 potions. And part of the reason for this is because quests require potentially a lot of items. In fact, that was one of the only reasons for it. But this is going to make it pretty hard to balance too. Hey, Mystical Cell. Hey, Dark. Yeah, I think I need to consider some of this just for a little bit longer. What other thought did I have on this? Oh, yeah. Medium and hard difficulties should be relatively more challenging than the base. Not, I guess, as opposed to all medium instances being level 5, for example. All right, I do want to design this a tiny bit more just to make sure that we don't have any craziness here. This ended up being like a footnote. Yeah, here. I just wrote we probably need a difficulty slider. You can choose between the base level, hard, and hardest or something like that. It would just increase the amount of loot you get. There are some aspects to that I had never considered. So let's make a new tab. We're going to call this one Scratch. We're going to call this the design. Difficulty sliders. There are a few concerns with the difficulty sliders. So one is balance. I think it's going to be a little bit tough, which is you get more loot from the higher levels. So the battles need to take slightly longer. Wait a second. Oh man, okay. No, the way this needs to work, get more loot from the higher levels. Suppose you got 2x the loot on hard mode. It shouldn't take 2x the time, or else it's better to just do easy mode repeatedly. Yeah. Yeah, what's the point of these? It was for more items, obviously, but for quests. That was it, right? Yeah, that was it. And I guess for selling. And then how do bosses interact with this? Previously, you could fight them infinitely, and they just kept getting stronger. This effectively meant that you could fight them maybe 5 to 7 times. Yeah, they would give loot each time because they got stronger. I am not sold on this. I'm not sold on this at all. I feel like there should be a way to get more items, but we just added in the spells. Yeah, so thoughts. We just added in manual spells, which is a way of getting more items. Oh, there was another thing, which is like reuse of content to some extent. This isn't super important because making an instance doesn't take like 1 month to do. A prestige system, perhaps. My thoughts on a prestige system, the way that a lot of games do this is it forces you to go back through the game, and typically there's some difference. So either the difference is you're way stronger, or you got new abilities, or something along those lines. And I think the games that expect you to do this are games that are supposed to loop on themselves a bunch. And I don't think I don't like the idea in Skeleseller, and I haven't exactly pinpointed why. For one, I don't know what you're choosing to prestige and what it means to do that. So are you doing it just on one adventurer, for example? So the mage is level 7 and you send them back to level 1. And then how are you training them? Because it only costs money right now. So then you just click the button a bunch of times and now you have to just put your skill points back in. That's another thing, by the way, about prestiging in most games is like all of your stats or skills or whatever reset. And unless it automatically picks the same path you had before through the skill points, then it's like you just have to click another 12 times for kind of no reason. So I'm not happy with that. I wonder another way we could potentially do this if all we care about is getting more items is we could allow you to just upgrade locations in the game. Like Forest becomes Forest 2 and it just gives more items. Maybe it doesn't even take more time. Or maybe you pick a particular item and I don't know. But I think there's probably a better way of doing this because I'm very concerned about what this system means for the game. Just added in manual spells, which way of getting more items. We don't really need to reuse content because we can make new instances so quickly. So if all we want is more loot, then perhaps we could add another way of getting it. Yeah. Hey, Astro. Could you somewhat calculate the stat multipliers for enemies in a way that kind of match +1 required level and +2 or even +2, +4? Yeah, I think you can. I'm just not sure the feature is even worth doing. Like, again, the point of this, and I think this is why it's kind of nice that I made the enchanter first. The point of this was just for more items, right? Like, I have it written here. I didn't even write it here, I guess. But maybe I wrote it somewhere else. What's this? It's not important for you to choose which stat to buff. They all help you in battle. Cons, it would remove the need for the difficulty slider. What is this? Let me unwind this. What if you just required some total value of items for each quest? Oh, I see. And not specific items, as opposed to specific items. Okay. Anywhere else that I wrote this down, though? You get to the point where the quest is too long to complete and you don't realize that you could reset that difficulty by abandoning it. So you include the quests aren't worth doing. Each quest requiring more and more stuff in the form of a gold target. Difficulty, instance difficulty slider. I mean, we could also change the quests around if this is a problem. Oh, wow, neat. If you search with Command F or Control F, it'll find it in both tabs. That's pretty nice. I wonder if there's a way to change that. All tabs. Yeah, interesting. Wow, cool. Yeah. Okay, yeah, we just added manual spells, which is a way of getting more items. We don't really need to reuse content. If all we want is more loot, perhaps we can add another way of getting it. Or we could modify quests so that you don't need as much loot. And the balance issue may be difficult. It's not just the difficulty of the instance, it's also how much loot you're getting. And yeah, can your town handle that much? And it's also how much you're getting relative to other difficulty levels. Yeah, okay. These are the reasons why I'm not sold on this as an idea. Hey Dave. Good morning. Good morning. I didn't even write down why we exactly wanted this. I think it was just I made quests, and when we tested it out, it was like, oh, well, some of the quests require quite a lot of items. I don't have a way of making a tavern now. So let's go figure that out. What's the lose or win state of the game? Do the adventurers unalive? Can you go bankrupt? Is the goal to reach X amount of money? So the lose state doesn't exist. And the win state is to beat the final boss, get an antidote, and sell it. And this all plays into the whole how you died. You died by getting poisoned, and there were no antidotes. So it's like you come full circle by selling an antidote. But yeah, the reason the lose state doesn't exist is I wanted this to be a casual game. And I was concerned that if you could lose adventurers, or if you had to redo a lot of progress, or if you could make the wrong choices, then it wouldn't feel as casual. And I like where things are right now. I think it's working pretty well. The other thing about a casual game is it's almost always a little bit easier to understand, and that doesn't matter to everybody. But making a game casual means there doesn't need to be a death penalty, so you don't need to explain that to somebody. For example, that you die, you don't lose experience or something. And it's like, oh, one more thing you don't need to watch out for. It can also lower the thrill of the game, but it's less to explain. I'd even say that you have to raise 1 million for the potion. What do you mean, Dark? Like you should have 1 million potions required? Because I think I might have missed something. Let me go back to this. Oh, the antidote. Oh. Uh, I think we could have multiple goals. Maybe after you sell the antidote, it gives you an arbitrary goal of like, okay, now let's make a golden statue of me in the town. And it costs 1 million for that. And it's like, oh, okay, here's just if you felt like playing some more, you'd play some more. The reason I'm not super happy with an idea like that is only because you could just leave the game at that point and just have it run auto battles the whole time in whatever area you're comfortable doing. So you just do something like this and then auto battle it. Your characters will eventually make 1 million gold. I guess the point is that you'd have to have some ways of increasing that amount. All right, yeah, I think this is crucial here. And I don't want to add another system. I think I'm very much leaning towards scrapping this. Yeah, leaning towards scrapping this. I just don't see a point. We can make the spells better. Another way of getting more loot, e.g. upgrading instances. Or upgrading your spells. Or getting more mana. Or modify quests so you don't need as much loot. We could just say at some point, you don't need 400 small blue potions. There's a limit to how many items it can ask you to get, and it'll eventually pick the more expensive ones. Yeah. We could just we could try picking items that are like greater than X% of the gold target. Yeah, I think I'm gonna axe this. What I have written down here. 3 difficulties. Each difficulty add roughly 2 levels. I already had this written down. Increase enemy stats, grant different abilities. When a higher ability to difficulty, increase loot multiplier. Change how bosses work. Yeah. Yep. I just yep. I keep coming to the same conclusion. I can't think of anything else right now. Now we just have to put the game on the blockchain and have players earn Skelecoin. Well, we had Botcoin in Botland. We could have Skelecoin here. Or instead we just add a toggle to make the instance harder, throwing a bunch of random mods on enemies. But still, what's the point? I feel like the only point originally was just getting more items. But is it fun to do that? Also, we'd still need to balance it. Because I don't think it was actually for difficulty in the game. I think that was supposed to be the boss battles. And like I said, no matter what, the balance that I think is going to be hardest is... Yo, welcome back. Thank you for the resub. Appreciate it. I appreciate your hey guys message every morning. The balance that I think is going to be hardest is we're going to have some like, difficulty level 1. Let's say it's easy. And it'll take, let's say, 7 seconds to beat and gives you, 3 potions on average. So now difficulty level 2, hard. If it gives 6 potions on average, then it needs to take less than 14 seconds to beat, or else you should never do this. This is going to be the hardest thing to do. It's probably such a difficult thing that it just shouldn't exist. That's what I keep thinking. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gutting this. Let's put this here. I don't think this feature should be made. The original purpose was to be able to get more items. But if that becomes a desire from players, then I think we need to offer some other solution than a difficulty slider. See this document for more details. Let me just make sure I've captured all the thoughts here. Should probably do this up here. Did I add it? Probably need a difficult slider. That was just in there. Yeah, I'm gonna make a new section then. Difficulty sliders. And then we need this to go into this. See this document. There. Okay, so this was originally an idea to increase the number of items you would find so that quests would become more amenable. Hey, Ramy. Hey, Stockton. Ignore the ones on YouTube. Oh, man, I don't even think... Did I even open that? Oh, yeah, I did. Sorry. Then I'm looking at YouTube chat. Usually I have this open to the side, but it was beneath Twitch chat. Yeah, my bad. Which keyboard is this? This is a Corn keyboard. Making this week in the office not so bad. Yeah, I am not planning on streaming the whole day, though. That's the only thing. Hey, Goose. Okay, I've decided to scrap it for the following reasons. We have enchantments. Perhaps we have curses that do the mods like Darkstorm was mentioning. They have things like resistance to magic, so you have to pay attention and change up the party and such. So I think there are some important pieces of the design philosophy here. And I think there are two main parts. Design philosophies. One is only add a system if it's solving a problem. And two is only the boss battles should be difficult. So one of the pieces of feedback we've gotten quite a lot in the game is you go and you do a battle, and let's say we do this. We send these two characters in, and I'm going to speed this up, and we're going to do these two things. Okay, so here's a battle, and I just lost. What I can see at the end of this battle is the duration is 12.5 seconds, DPS is 31.3. So now I'm like, well, I lost. You know what? Let me go in and let me change some skill points around. And I click this a couple of times, and I repeat the battle. Now I'm still going to lose. And what people keep saying is like, how do I know if that just helped me, what I did with my skill points? And the problem is, unless you're paying attention to what's going on in a battle exactly, which is pretty tough to do, then all you really have are these stats to go off of. And it's not obvious what the enemies are doing or what their stats might be. There are no resistances or anything. So I thought, okay, let's make regular battles you're just fighting against some stats. There are no mods or anything. And then bosses will have abilities, and we'll need to have some way of probably showing you what those abilities are so that you know how to work around them. But that way you're not checking for every single fight, like, how do I beat this thing? So I feel like this kind of violates both design philosophies. I don't like adding systems if it's not solving a problem, only because then that's another system people have to learn, and it probably doesn't synergize well with other systems if it wasn't solving a problem to begin with. But anyway, that's my take. I recognize that you could make this game and you could have, every battle is difficult for some reason, and it could probably be successful. But it's at least not the path that I see. We use an ancient tracking system at work, and it can take up to a minute to load each page. Realize it's only the UI that's slow, and the backend actually responds in under a second on average. Started to write our own UI with my coworker. Modern problems require modern solutions. Hey, method. Maybe it can be an option in New Game Plus. Monsters have more health and deal more damage, but provide more better items with a chance for rare items. I'm not thinking about a New Game Plus just yet. I want to make the current game good. And I think a New Game Plus is typically for the, small percentage of players who are like, that game was so fun, I think I'll play it a second time. And I think it's worth considering what a New Game Plus would look like, but I bet the number of players who actually see a New Game Plus is probably like 5 to 10%. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, okay, so like I said, this is super important, right? Only add a system of solving a problem. And I think it's worth asking, like, what problem are we solving? And I don't know that there is a problem yet. And the problem that we foresaw originally was, okay, Quest might say something like, you need 150 blue potions. Well, if you get 3 per battle, then that'll take 50 battles. Is that a problem? And I was like, maybe it is. Maybe when it asks for 200 potions, that's a problem. And another way you could do this is you could just add in an abandoned quest button, right? If that's the problem, then you could solve this in a very different way and not necessarily add in systems where it's like, all right, well, now regular battles are more complicated, or we need to allow you to prestige or something like that. Again, not saying these are bad ideas. I'm saying this is my thought process on this stuff. And that's why it's important to know what you're actually solving here. Because otherwise you complicate a game and make it more difficult for players. So if that's a problem, we could say abandoned quest. We could also say something like, just don't generate like high item counts. So instead of 150 blue potions, we change it to 75 green potions or 37 red potions or something. This is for demonstrative purposes. And it's like, oh, okay, now instead of doing 50 battles, you're doing, 15 battles. And maybe that's better. Maybe maybe we change quests so that they just don't require that much stuff at all. So what I'm leaning toward here, anyway, let me write out my thoughts for why I don't want to do this thing. And then maybe it'll make it clearer kind of what my thought process is for this. So we go over to Scratch. And where did this go? Difficulty. There it is. So balance, if you get more loot from higher levels, then your town needs to be able to handle that loot. That loot will also happen in bursty ways. You complete a longer battle and then get 2x the items all at once. The important bit of balance, though, is the relative items per minute from the difficulties needs to be such that the higher difficulties are, what's the word for beneficial, or more beneficial. Or else you'd never do them and it would invalidate the feature. E.g., if easy mode takes 7 seconds to beat and gives 3 potions on average, and we say that hard mode should grant 6 potions on average, then it must take less than 14 seconds. What else? Other solutions for more items. We already added in manual spells. So there's a way to double the loot from any location. We could do more, we could add something else like that, including just letting you upgrade your spells. And it would be much simpler to understand and balance than to add a brand new difficulty system. Other solutions for needing fewer items could just change quests so that they generate more expensive items. E.g., instead of needing 250 blue potions, we require 75 daggers. You have anything else written down here? And then design problems. I don't know how bosses would interact with this system. Yeah. Yeah, so those are my reasons for not wanting this. And I don't know that we have a problem yet. And I think if we did have a problem, we would solve it in a different way. So I think I'm just going to delete this. Which means we can now tackle something else. Oh, man. All right. Well, that took a way shorter time than I thought. 34 minutes to delete a feature. Well, one of the next two things would either be battle stats or consolidating actionable things in the game. It's worth talking about the battle stats thing. I mentioned that when you lose a battle, all you have are these 3 stats to go off of, and it's hard to tell, did I improve? Did I get worse? Are my skills actually helping? And the battle stats I'm talking about were going to be things like you would see a breakdown of cleric, like damage dealt 45, healing done 500, maybe like abilities used, heal 12. What else do they have? I don't know, blessing of wisdom or whatever it's called, blessing of haste, 2. And you might be like, oh wow, that didn't actually improve the number of times I healed or the amount that I healed or something. I don't know if that's a fun gameplay loop though. I think that's the other problem, is like if you had to look at these stats to see how well you performed, would you want to? Is that an interesting thing to optimize? So I think I need to figure that out. Would a traveling merchant that sells lower quality items for cheap fit into the vision? So you're buying the items from this person? I think the only thing is, this is why I say like we need to be solving a problem. Right now, items have exactly 2 purposes. Yeah, it's you sell them or you use them for a quest, which eventually gives you permanent stat buffs. So let me show how quests work right now. I need to unlock the tavern first. So there. And then there. And that should allow us to do this, I think. I really need to make like an unlock tavern button. Okay, so here's how quests work. You accept a quest and you're told what the benefit will be, but you don't know what the items you need will be. So now you're given a quest and it's telling me to collect these items. So now these 3 items have a second purpose, but every single other item in the game is just needed for selling still. So a traveling merchant would serve only potentially 2 purposes. One is arbitrage. They would be you buy items for, let's say, 50 gold and sell them for 75 gold. So essentially it's another item source. And 2 would be quest inputs. So it's like, oh, that blue potion, I need that, so I'm gonna buy that. And then you use that for quest. I don't think either of these are really problems that need to be solved right now. So it would fit into the design if we had maybe a 3rd purpose or a 4th purpose for items. Because a lot of times, and I've been thinking about this too, and just the overall game design, like, what do items do in most games? And in most games, items aren't just for selling and literally nothing else. There might be something that's just for selling. Maybe it's, you kill a bat and you get a bat wing and that's used for potions, and then you get some like a bat tail and that's just nothing in the game and you sell that. But rarely will you find a game where it's like the only purpose in collecting items was just to turn them into money later. And I think that's the issue that we have here, is like there just aren't that many functions in this game. It's an economy-based game. And yeah, typically if you have a function for items and you have a decision of, do I want to use that function or do I want the economy part? And in other RPGs, I think they're really good examples for this. You find a new sword and it's got whatever, 17 damage, and your sword only does 15 damage. Well, now you have a marginal improvement by using it, or you could sell it to other players and get money and maybe buy even better armor or something like that. So you have interesting trade-offs sort of built in when you do have extra functions. Summarizing the discussion in 1 minute is just linking you to this document. So it's very easy. Where is it? Here. Yeah. This is not public, but Kevin has access to it. So there you go. Yeah. How bad would it be to go to the PoE route, adding mods to instances to increase difficulty? What problem are we solving, Darkstorm? As far as looking into vast amounts of stats all the time, people do play EVE Online, so there's certainly a market. Yeah, I just wonder, like, the way this game would have trained you up until that point is you're winning every single battle pretty handily. Like, you go fight here, and it's taking a long time because I lowered their walk speed. There we go. And the battle is taking place, and maybe you're watching it, maybe you're not, but you can already see I'm probably going to win this. In fact, I'm definitely going to win this now. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. All I might care about, the only stat might be this one, duration. Like, I won, so I don't really care about the other stats. And then you get to a boss battle, and it's like, whoa, what? Like, I'm flinging my party at this over and over, and I'm not winning. What do I do? And I wonder if this requires a little bit more thought too into, do we change boss battles? I want to think about this. Do we have it written down about? No, we don't have that written down. I don't know what you said. I was still referring to the difficulty side, but in this way. Oh, I said, what problem are we solving with that? I think we need to write a section for this too. So that's difficulty sliders. We also need to talk about feedback from boss battles. So problem, regular battles are easy enough and allow enough adventurers that you can/will win them without much trouble. Then you get to boss battles and we expect you to figure out the puzzle, but you don't have many tools for doing this. So the high-level solutions are get rid of the puzzle or give you the tools. And I don't like this idea because if there's going to be battling at all, then I think there should be some tough battles. And I think players have enjoyed this in the past. So what could the tools be? The biggest one I had come up with was to show detailed stats. But my question here is it fun to look over the stats and figure out which numbers changed and which ones need to change? So like, Timmy is playing Skeleseller and can't beat the dragon boss. Timmy changes his party around and changes his skill choices. Timmy still loses. How does Timmy know what to do? Kevin doesn't have access. Oh, wait, sorry. Let me grant you access. There. Done. Yeah, done. I should also grant access to Dark. Why won't Dark Storm's name get auto-completed in here? What the heck? I've granted access to Dark a bunch of times. It's not showing up. All right, well, I'm not going to pull up the email address on stream. I guess if Dark wants it, Dark can always request it. Yeah. Did I close the document? I did. Have fun. Oh, I might have linked to the wrong thing, by the way. It's in the design section that the difficulty sliders thing should be read. I also have something in the scratch section, but yeah, biggest one I come up with was to show detailed stats. My question is it fun to look over the stats and figure out which numbers change and which ones need to change? And how to change them, I guess. Does Timmy know what to do? Slightly more loot percent, or even apply some town buff as a reward. Difficulty would come from either stat multipliers. Guys, now we have a very small. Still, what problem are you solving with any of that? Yeah. I'm not sold on this idea of, you click some button of like see detailed stats, and then we bring you to a UI like, did I close already? I did. Anyway, we bring you to a UI with something like your cleric did, damage X, healing Y, skill uses A and B. And then you see the same thing for the mage and the whatever else you have in your party. Like, we can do this. We can show you all this stuff. It's not like that big of a feature to do. But when you look at this, are you going to be like, oh, my damage didn't rise, but my party is healed a little bit more? I'm just not sold on that. Yeah. And I'm not sure what to do about this. And there was another thing that I thought of here, which is, what if we showed you a like drastic simplification of how well you did? So you get a score, and if you see the score go up, it means you did better. And like to keep doing that, I guess. Yeah, so Dark, I don't know how much you can hear me, but in my mind, boss battles are the venues for experimentation. So yeah, what if we showed you a score? You saw at the bottom of this, maybe you still saw duration, maybe you saw DPS, but maybe instead of health, you just saw like score. And then it said, maybe score was even a percentage, and 100% just means you won the battle. Although people do like seeing scores go beyond 100%. They work nice. Oh, they're okay. They're better than I thought then. I guess it was just messing up on that one thing. Are we talking about how to figure out the boss gimmick? We're talking about how to figure out how to like beat the boss, I guess. So there are two parts of that. One is understanding the gimmick, which right now is not explained in the game. imagine that the gimmick is something like the boss can only take 1 damage at a time. Assuming you know this, which you don't right now, but assuming you knew this, how would you know that you're making effective choices? And there are a couple issues with this. One is there is some variance in battle. So for example, just the easiest example is the rogue has, let's say, like a 13% chance to crit. That means that if you roll this chance every single time, you're going to do like 4 times the damage you would do if you never rolled this chance. So there's variance in terms of how much damage your party does. The bosses don't really have that variance, but what it means is that you can have the optimal strategy and then lose because you got unlucky with some rolls. So we could flatten that variance a little bit and make it so that if you have the optimal strategy, then we just test the battle like 1,000 times and you shouldn't ever lose, I guess. But then is this just like, hey, find what strategy we wanted you to have? Yeah, I think this is pointing to a slightly bigger problem. I do think we need to make the boss gimmicks clear. And we should probably just do that on the location screen. Like, I think that's a pretty important conclusion. We probably need to make the boss gimmicks clear on the location chooser. E.g., this is the ogre. They always, I don't know, they always deal a minimum of 50%. I'm just gonna make something up. They can't take more than 1 damage. Yeah. And that way you can at least know what this is. And I think throwing it in your face is probably important because I don't know if experimenting to figure this out is interesting, especially if some of them aren't clear even after you fought them. Like, I didn't spend a lot of time on this, but let's say we start this battle against the dragon. This thing's gimmick, wait for the battle to start. This thing's gimmick was that every like 8 seconds, it shoots a fireball at everything in your party. So we're about to see it happen. And there it goes. So it just damaged everybody. What we were trying to accomplish with this gimmick, or what I was trying to accomplish, is that your summons have pretty much no value in this fight because they're all going to get burned anyway. So there's no way for them to absorb the hits for you because it's just going to produce an extra fireball and kill them. So you might see that that's happening, but not realize like, maybe you shouldn't bring a summoner to this fight. So I think no matter what we do, we probably need to just make it clearer. And I think that's one part of this. I think that's good. I do kind of think that just having a score could be effective. Maybe we have a score metric and it's a percentage. Winning guarantees a score of at least 100%. You can go beyond that by winning quickly. I have to be honest, I hadn't realized that at all. The fireball thing with the dragon. Yeah, right. So that's there. Like I said, there are 2 parts. One is understanding what the gimmick is, and then I guess what it means. And then 2 is figuring out how you work around that. So if you knew the boss can only take 1 damage at a time, you might be like, okay, I want lots of fast attacks, and I want haste maybe, and I want whatever else. You know, you have tools to do something with this. You just don't even know what you're tooling up for, I guess. And you need to know what it is. I can see the value in making it explicit as watching the combat isn't the main focus. Yeah, and I think that was a really good conclusion to have because originally people were talking about like, okay, well, if you fail the boss, what if it showed a tip? Or what if like a townsperson told you, hey, the dragon shoots a lot of fireballs at once? And it's like, okay, well, maybe people don't read that or maybe they don't know how to find that. So we just put it in the same spot in the UI every time. I think it could be good. Yeah, maybe you could buy hints. Yeah, I think that's a system where as long as it's clear, I think it accomplishes something pretty similar. And I think it could be helpful. So like, hey, that's the dragon boss. It shoots fireballs. You're like, cool, I understand that, but I don't know what I should conclude from that. So then you go to the tavern or something and it says, hey, maybe you should get rid of the summoners in your party. And it's like, oh yeah, good idea. I didn't think about that. And then you go on to win the fight. So I think those sorts of things can help. And that is another way. The score thing might not be the way. Maybe just hints about which builds you should have or what you can do to improve your odds. At its loftiest, we could even analyze your builds and tell you what's wrong. I don't think that's a good idea, but I mean, we could do that, right? We know what skill points you had. We could be like, oh, hey, you put points into whatever, this, and it's not the best skill for this fight. I think that'd be really, really ridiculously hard to do, but we could analyze it and try to figure something out. Is there any value in that? Like we detect that you're using a healer for a battle where healing probably doesn't help, or that you're, whoops, not using a healer and need one. There he is, the blue shirt customer. There he is. By winning faster. Yeah, let me just get rid of health. So score is like the inverse of the enemy health on the team. Hmm. Yeah. I don't think we want to include that much, as that would basically be us playing the game for them. Yeah, I agree. I think this is just another idea. I don't like the idea. I don't like it for two reasons. One, I don't like it because it'd be very, very hard to do. But two, like you said, it's like, well, what agency does the player have if we're just telling you like, hey, maybe remove the cleric from your party? And I think a good game would set up for having slightly different strategies. I don't want people to get into the case where they have the same strategy every time. Like one of the things I was thinking about is you can increase your dodge chance through the game. So what happens if you use characters that can dodge a lot on every boss battle? I was thinking it'd be nice to have a boss that was like every time you dodge, you take like 10% more damage or something like that. So now when you finally do get hit, you're going to die. And I like that idea. It's like, okay, well, dodging isn't bad, but enough dodges would be bad. So now you need to only have some of it. What if after selecting a boss fight, your characters get colored from red to green hue based on how good they are for the given encounter? Excuse me, could be unlocked by something in town. Yeah, and like I said, we need enough sort of flexibility in your strategy to know what might be good or bad. So I suspect that the later battles, everyone would probably just be green because there's probably some strategy that involves them. And the early on ones, by the way, another thing we did, the whole point of the quest system was like you can get more stats by doing this. So if bosses are ever too hard for you, you can eventually beat them with any party by just increasing your stats enough. Well, probably any party. I mean, maybe there's an exception to that in the future, but yeah, imagine if you have like 400 more stats than you should have had at that point. By the way, this is a great idea. I want to write this down somewhere. Write this idea down for a boss mod. This doesn't make it so that you want, I guess I should say, this doesn't punish a small amount of dodging, just a large amount of dodging. Your summons are worthless here, dummy. I think for the fireballs thing, it could make sense. I think if they said something like, I can only take 1 damage at a time. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. If we have multiple gimmicks, though, we need to explain what those gimmicks are. But regardless, I think the point that's important here is the player should know what the gimmicks are. Whether it's through flavor text, whether it's through a hint at the tavern, whether it's through the UI just telling you directly, the player needs to know. So I think this is super important, And we might want to do this through a different means eventually. Maybe in the future, we surface this in a different way. But having it in the location chooser is a good start. Yeah. Pop it. Credit me for these ideas. Yeah. All right. So yeah, hints I think could be another way of solving this. Could be a hint system. E.g., you lose at the dragon a bunch of times, and someone tells you that you should probably avoid summoners for those fights because I was gonna say they're just gonna die anyway, but their summons are just going to die anyway. Okay, maybe that's it. Maybe we tell you the gimmick up front, and then if you fail at it, yeah, then we start giving you the hints, and the hints could come from somewhere. I don't know where. I know we said the tavern, but there's just this quest board here. Maybe there's the maybe there's an NPC after you lose a boss, like the Dragon Slayer, and they've got like a hut off here in the woods. And they'll give you tips if you can't beat a boss. Kind of like that idea. I know this is pretty much taking it from what Chat said and Puppet said pretty recently too. But yeah, maybe you could buy boss hints at a tavern. Yeah, what if we add a what do we call them? Like a seasoned adventurer or a dragon slayer or something like that. They have a hut in the woods. You can pay them for hints, I guess, for the latest boss. Yeah. Okay. I think I like that. I think I like this better than the battle set saying. I think we're scrapping everything in favor of just better ideas. And a dark pushback on this too. We were talking about it in one of the issues, and I I generally agreed there that like, hey, not everyone's gonna read this, but I don't have any better ideas. And now we've spent some time coming up with some better ideas. Just a dude covered in spices. Pass me the paprika. Your character has to go all the way in the woods to get hit. Well, I mean, we'll probably just make it like how every other NPC works. You just drag the camera and click, and they tell you whatever they need to tell you. But yeah, I think that could be pretty cool. And thanks to this other idea that we had, which is you should always be able to see what you can take action on in the game. There would be something that says in the upper left menu, like you can build the seasoned adventurer's hut. And yeah, you build it off in the woods, and they give you tips. Maybe every environment has a different gimmick, and the boss is a reflection of that specific gimmick. Creates variety within parties for every environment, allows some experimentation. Not sure if it's fun or annoying. Well, one of the things that I haven't changed yet, but that we're going to change, there's this at the upper right here, party size, and it says like 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to change every non-boss instance to have a party size of 6. So if for whatever reason you're finding it too difficult, just throw in more adventurers. And we're still going to balance for different party sizes. You just won't know what that number is. So there's going to be some experimentation in that. I know it's not the same kind of experimentation, but I think for a game that you're not directly controlling fights and all your characters are just doing stuff, it's hard for those gimmicks to really shine. Like let's say we did have a desert area and it says you attack 10% slower. Is that changing a lot? How do you work around that? And do you even bother working around it knowing that you're going to have an auto battle feature? Because I think this is the core of kind of any strategy we ever add to any part of this game. You always at any point have this option. Sorry, give me a sec. I really need to make these characters walk faster. Okay, yeah. At any point you have this option, auto battle, and you'll just check this. And it doesn't matter if your party's not the most optimal or anything. You'll just walk away from your computer And when you come back, you'll have won a few fights. And could you have won them, 40% faster? Maybe. But as long as you couldn't have won them 4,000% faster, then you're probably not going to care. It's just the guy that did have the snake antidote on him. It could be a kind of an interesting thing for each boss. Although maybe not, because maybe you want the hints for the old bosses. Yeah, you probably do want the hints for the old bosses. But I was thinking, what if you found like a dragon slayer for the dragon boss, and for the ogre you found what's like a in real life lore appropriate reason? I don't know. You found like a donkey, and he tells you about Shrek and how to beat Shrek. Um, anyway, I don't think it needs to be that. I think it just needs to be something. Yeah, there's like a hint system or a tip location. But I like that idea. And that way you can still experiment and you'll at least know kind of what are you doing differently or what are you doing wrong. And then all the bosses we need to tell you something, I guess. All right, let me write that down. So conclusions. We definitely need to tell players what the boss gimmicks are. And we should make a hint system, probably in the form of a new building that nudges you toward the right strategies. So all we need to do is design that. What's the end game content going to be? I want something to sink 50 hours in easily. I don't think that's going to exist. The way I look at the game is there's the tutorial, and that's about 30 minutes. And it's not even that it's holding your hand a lot. It's just like, hey, things are slower and you're understanding how the game works. Then there's going to be like the main game, and I don't know how long that's going to last, like 4 to 5 hours. And then there's like prepping for the end game, which is just you've gotten all the adventurers, you have all the buildings, you're getting your last few upgrades. So nothing too different, I guess. And then, people have talked about, oh, should there be an infinite mode or something? I just don't really see how it'd be fun. And that doesn't mean we can't add it anyway, and whoever finds it fun can play it. It's just what does it look like? It's like, let's say I've already beaten the game. Like, why am I playing now? Is it just to get money? Do we give you an arbitrary goal, like get 1,000,000 gold? Yeah. All right, so the only thing I want to do is design this. Need to design the hint building. What is the theme? And what's the UI for getting hints? I think it should probably just... Oh, maybe the UI should be... Maybe you just pay for the boss hint and it adds it to the start battle screen. Because we have a lot of screen real estate there. Yeah, so what I'm picturing is you hover over one of these things. Pay for it. Yeah, there. So here we're seeing, this is the canyon. It says the reward. And it could say like, because you paid money for this, here's the tip for how to beat this. You should send in these adventurers or something. Just switches you over to Jump Royale. Hey, Gluten Crusader. I'm doing well. I have come to some realizations. I feel like game design is more difficult than a lot of people think. And I've thought about this stuff critically for a while, and I'm still not amazing at it. And I think what I'm kind of coming to the conclusion of in general is if something feels like it's not the best system, it's probably not the best system. But it's really hard to come up with what the best system is. So your gut might be telling you this is wrong, but it's just like, unless you have inspiration strike you, it's hard to come up with what's good. Anyway, the nice thing about putting it in this screen is that everything would be consolidated. So before you fight this boss, you'd be like, canyon, gimmick, you only take 1 damage at a time. Hint, maybe you should blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Doing game design case study streams to learn more about game design. Just finished prepping for Farming Sim Friday. Oh, cool. Farming Sim Friday. Is that a general thing or is Farming Sim the actual game? Yeah, Farming Sim is apparently an actual game. Yeah. Game design of simulation games, man, it's kind of crazy. Because it's like the thing exists in real life. Oh, it's the theme. Okay, never mind. Okay, I thought you were talking about like Power Wash Simulator, which is a specific game. But anyway, Power Wash Simulator is another one of those things where it's like power washing exists in real life. And anyone who's ever used a power washer, like the simulator game gives you a very similar experience. That's for sure. You're just standing there getting dirt off of stuff. And sure, the game works a little differently in that you have infinite water. It's not making a ton of noise. But those are pretty minor things when it comes to the experience of power washing something. A thieves guild that sells information would be interesting. I'm not sure we want more buildings on the screen. Oh yeah, I definitely want another building somewhere. And I was thinking, well, let me write down my ideas for this. So by the way, I like this idea. What's the theme? So ideas here are something like a seasoned adventurer. They have a hut in the woods and sell you tips based on their adventures. Yeah, thieves guild. Why would they have to be thieves though? Also, we already have a guild building. So this would have to be like a maybe like a beast hunter or a dragon slayer. I guess this is the same thing as seasoned adventurer. Beast hunter / dragon slayer. If it's going to be a group of people, I'd expect it to be at some kind of guild, because then presumably they would have fought a bunch of stuff. Maybe like the in-world equivalent of the police. If they're not the police, what am I thinking of? I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking of. An inn, as Stockton said. My biggest revelation in game design was how many of my ideas I thought were amazing, they turned out to be not so exciting to others. I think a lot of it, I think what makes it tough is you're not ever designing things in isolation. You know, if you make an item system and you have a battle system, probably those two systems are related to one another and you're getting items from battle. And now you add an auction house system and it's like, well, now battles are affecting your auction house because that's your proxy for getting items. And now you add a crafting system and it's like, well, now you can bypass the battle system to get to the crafting system to still sell things on the auction house. And it's like any little thing you change is going to modify practically everything else. And there's this give and take that's hard to quantify ahead of time. And then you play the game and you're like, oh, this is boring. This sucks. And there are a couple of games that I've had to stop playing because the best way to play is the least fun. And I've always said this, but Animal Crossing and their stupid turnip system, God, I hated that. I hated it so much. It was like the least fun way to play. You had to log in, you had to collect like 15 minutes worth of turnips and stick them on the ground somewhere, and then log in every half day to see if the price changed, or go on Reddit or something to see if someone had a better price. It was so stupid. And then one day I lost all my turnips and I'm like, that's it, I'm done playing the game. And there was something else recently where I was like, God, the way to play this is just not fun. Oh, what was it? I can't recall. I'm trying to think of what other games I've been playing recently. Yeah, anyway, as soon as I realized, oh, wait, yeah, I remember what it was. It was that Nonogram's Katana game. God, yeah, the dungeon system. There was this thing that you could interact with, and it was like 3 times per day. You could do something. It took like 10 minutes per time. And it was just boring. And yet that was the best way to get stuff in the game. So for 30 minutes per day, you had to do something that wasn't fun. Yeah, I just can't do it anymore. So I just want to stick to game jam type stuff right now, pouring my heart and soul into something and it failing would kill me. I'm sure that would get easier with time though. I think every aspect of that would get easier, by the way. I think knowing what to build, being able to handle the failures a little bit better. But with that said, I don't blame you. I think focusing on game jam type stuff is pretty good. Also, it lets you focus on a smaller scope of game design. It's not like you're not designing a game for a jam. You are. It's just it's probably not going to have like 14 systems. It's probably going to have like one or two. So okay, I'm to be honest, I think this sounds pretty cool in my head. There's some like mystical person who's got some tips for you, and they're just one person and they have a small hut in the woods. I also like the idea of a small hut in the woods because no one else has a small place. I mean, this kind of looks small, but we're probably gonna flesh that out at some point. But yeah, just imagine someone with whatever graphics we haven't used yet. This is the marketplace one. We need the world one. Where's the world one? Why is double clicking this not working? World, exterior, open. If we get rid of the surfboard, we could put them by the water or even just a pond. Do we have any like hut looking things? No, just some like proper buildings. Even a tent. Do we have a tent in here? I don't think so. Although now that I think about it, we could put like a cave entrance and there's just outside of a cave somewhere. Maybe we call them the explorer. Yeah, maybe they're not an adventurer. Maybe they just happen to see enemies and study them. No, I can't be a surfer. All right, I like that idea. So we should probably vote on this or something. But we add the hint giver. I'm not gonna theme them yet. We had the hint giver. They live in a hut in the woods or some other remote area. And you can pay them for hints, which then show on the start battle screen. So yeah, what's the UI for getting hints? I guess it'd just be a drop down or something. Could just be a drop down that shows something like this. Ogre, dragon, 400G. Well, probably not 400 gold. I think this should be pretty cheap because you can just opt not to get these things and then question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. So these would be ones you haven't unlocked. And I'm just gonna make something else like snake hint, 75G. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so is this sufficient? So now let's go back to our scenario here. Timmy's playing Skeleseller and can't beat the dragon boss. Timmy changes his party around and changes his skill choices. Timmy still loses. How does Timmy know what to do? Timmy goes to the explorer and asks for a hint. So I guess the question is, what if they're still stuck at that point? There could be multiple hints, and they could start to steer you toward like, here's a party that works eventually. I don't like that idea. And I think if we were to give multiple hints, yeah, I don't think we're going to do that. And I think we could possibly have them tell you some general information of like, have you leveled up? And if it's still too hard, do some quests. Yeah. This hint giver can also tell you some general information, which is always valuable. Make sure you've trained your adventurers and spent all of their skill points. And if the battles are still too hard, do some extra quests at the tavern. Yeah, we just lower the difficulty for Timmy. This is what some games do. They just have a difficulty slider for the whole game. And actually lots of games have you pick this. But I think modern game design is now you can change this at any time. Old game design was you set this at the beginning of the game and that's it, you were locked in. Which is kind of a problem because if you chose something too hard, the odds of you going back and replaying the whole game at an easier difficulty was probably pretty slim. So yeah, I think a lot of modern game design will have a difficulty slider and will have a way of changing it at will. And I think that's good. I think it just improves accessibility of games. It removes some of the pressure. You can obviously still play at the highest difficulty if you want. And there's nothing stopping a game from saying, like, if you chose hard mode at the beginning and you never changed it, that you get some sort of badge at the end. And like, you know, this is what a lot of games used to do anyway, right? You 100% it. There's nothing else to give you in the game, so let's just show you some dialogue or give you a badge or a medal or something. Now achievements exist, of course. Make sure you allow setting the slider to super duper easy mode and then switch at the very end of the final boss fight. Unlock super hard mode trophy. Yeah, Tachyon, if you could do that, I feel like that'd be an exploit. Then again, if all that was really difficult was beating the final boss and you had to change the slider right before them, then it might not be so bad. Okay. Choosing hard difficulty will constantly shift around balance and make it always super difficult for you. Yeah, I I think that when it comes to enemy behaviors, I think those could be impacted by AI quite a lot. I mean, we even called it AI before it was large language model AI. It was just what the enemies did. And I think a cool form of this is if you're playing an RTS and you've got your base and there's like a really strong set of defenses that you have toward the front of it, let's say, the enemy shouldn't just keep flinging themselves against the front of your base. They should just bypass it. And I feel like I don't play a lot of RTSs, but I feel like StarCraft 2 did something like that. And it felt good. It's like, yeah, it's what a player would do. They're not just going to throw themselves into missile turrets. They're going to walk around them. and and yeah, that's what a good AI should do too. So it's like in an RPG, if I don't know, if an enemy saw their allies get mowed down by your fire spells, that maybe they drink a fire resistance potion or something. But it's like that's just a hard counter to what you're doing. I think it'd be cool if it was just a behavioral change, like they just walk out of fire when they're standing in it. Also, again, that's sort of like a hard counter. I guess that's a problem with all this stuff. Like, what is difficulty in games? All right, I like these conclusions. I think I'm gonna cancel the battle stat thing. Like, I think this can be done eventually, but I don't think this needs to be done for checkpoint 5. Okay. So after thinking about this a lot more, I agree with the original statement. Well, I still agree. I agreed with it even then too. Yeah, I still agree with the original um not original Dark's original thoughts here, which is that many people won't read or care about these. And it may still be good for the people who do. However, I finally thought of something better. In short, we tell you what a boss's gimmick is right on the start battle screen, e.g., um, boss X can only take 1 damage at a time. And we let you unlock a hint giver who will nudge you toward beating the boss. E.g., try using adventurers that attack quickly and try improving their haste. Yeah. Regarding the some people may still want stats, I think that's true, but we should deprioritize this feature. And by deprioritize, I just mean delete a checkpoint from here. Why did that not do anything? Clear. Yeah. So this is no longer in checkpoint 5. But we're going to add something instead to checkpoint 5. We need to think of the theme of this. So I'll probably do a poll. Yeah, let's do a poll. Which theme do you like best? for the hint giver. All right, so seasoned adventurer, dragon slayer, explorer, or an inn. The inn not being that like it's functionally a hint giver. It's not one person. So like the building of the inn. Anything else? I guess beast hunter was one of them. Beast hunter. Okay, let's start this poll. So feel free to vote on this. This is just the system of, hey, I can't beat this boss. I go somewhere to one of these things. What is this somewhere that you would expect to go? And whatever wins will probably surface them as that to begin with. People are leaning toward explorer right now. Got 30 seconds left. Cast your votes. I think at this point it's probably going to be the explorer who wins. And then whether or not they live in a hut or in a cave or on the beach or something, I don't think matters too much. Beast Hunter is second place. Well, the nice thing is we could make their sprite kind of match either one of these two things and then just change the name if we ever want to. But yeah, cool. So I took a poll. Explorer, 4 votes. Beast Hunter, 2. And the others, 1. Except Dragon Slayer, 0. Yeah, don't need to write those out. Okay, cool. So the Explorer. Let's go make a task and then let's probably get started on it. Make the Explorer. Gives you quests for beating X monsters of some type. Beast Hunter to me reminds me of Final Fantasy XI had, I think, a Beast Master class. Yeah. And the way this worked is you could tame enemies in the world and then use them to fight. So they knew a lot about the enemies. And actually you can kind of see here, these were their job traits or whatever. And it's got like vermin killer, bird killer, amorph killer, whatever. It's got all the killer abilities, which meant they knew how to beat these enemies. So that's probably where that inspiration came from. But I like Explorer too. I think it's fine. And Explorer kind of implies that they're not necessarily fighting the enemies. They might just have seen them and they might have seen other people fight them. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so this is manifest boss gimmicks somewhere so that we can render them in the start battle UI. This will depend on the PR. 459. And then add the Explorer. They should show up when you lose a battle to a boss. Not they should show up. Their sign should show up when you lose a battle to a boss. Save and load the Explorer. Save that you built them. Save which hints you've purchased. Can scout an area to find the gimmick of the boss or area. I figured they would just have this knowledge. Like, presumably they've already traveled a lot and they decided to settle in somewhere in your town. So clicking the Explorer should pop up the hint purchase UI. I guess like purchase hint UI. After unlocking a hint, show it on the start battle UI. And then Maybe they have dialogue for special or like general hints, e.g., always level up your adventurers, spend their skill points, and do quests if you're at the tavern. At the tavern, if you're still struggling. Okay, that's done. It's done. It's done. What's missing from here? It should show up when you lose battle of a boss. Oh yeah, save that you built them. Save whether you lost a battle or not, so that we know whether to show the sign. By the way, something I'm just going to write here, which we definitely don't need, but add a debug button to show all signs. It's about time I did that. Think it'd be funny if the first boss has a crazy specific gimmick that most players will always lose to that activates the explorer, or the tutorial boss has a gimmick that you always lose the first time you fight it. The thing is, the game doesn't really lend itself well to having a gimmick you couldn't discover, and especially not at that point in the game. So here's what you have at that point in the game. Let me just grant myself infinite money. You have the rogue, you have the mage. You can get them both to level 2. So that means you can put 1 skill point in, and that's it. So when you fight the first boss, you are allowed to take in 2 party members, and you only have 2. And the only thing you could change is which skill you get, and you only have 1 choice on each of these. So there's no gimmick that's so obscure that you couldn't just, try out the 4 combinations you have. Yeah. So you're basically always guaranteed to win this fight. And that's the thing, right? If these were manually controlled battles, then maybe you'd miss with an ability or something, but it's just not possible here. They better win. Okay, yeah. All right, manifest boss gimmick somewhere at the Explorer. Clicking the Explorer should pop up the person hint UI. After unlocking a hint, show it on the start battle UI. Maybe they have dialogue for general hints. Their adventures. Yep. Cool. Okay, so make the Explorer. A dead adventure. It would actually be kind of funny if they were a skeleton and they didn't have the hint for the final boss because they died to the final boss. Yeah. Actually, what am I doing? We have the boss mods thing over here somewhere. Let me go find that. Boss ideas. Do I have anything written here about dodging? No. But we're gonna add one. And I like this theming. Boss that punishes dodging. Every time you dodge, you take 10% more damage. This still allows you to dodge sometimes and even potentially still mitigate damage overall, but not often, or else you'll die in 1 hit the next time you take damage. I just think this would be so interesting. Like, I want to add a class to the game, the ninja, and they're going to be a tank that does so by dodging. So maybe they get their dodge rate up to like 60%, right? So they're dodging most attacks. Against a boss like this, every time you dodge, you take 10% more damage. That means that if the enemy would have done 10 damage, that the first time maybe it misses, then the next time it does 11 damage, then it misses again. Now it's doing like 12.1 damage, and so on and so forth until it's doing like 500 damage per hit, and there's just no winning at that point. And it's like, well, just don't use the dodge tank. A boss that eats your summons. it's it's functionally pretty similar to the dragon in that they're anti-summon. Yeah, if you always dodged, I guess it wouldn't punish you, but we can't allow that to happen in the game. All right, so this is written down. There's one thing that's stopping me from wanting to do this. Oh yeah, that's right. It's that this whatever dialogue I make has to be put into the new dialogue system. I guess we could still make it ahead of time and just make it be very, very easy to code and then worry about it later. Not a real ninja if enemies can see you. They slowly fade out. For now, just make this as cheaply as possible. We'll probably eventually want this in the dialogger system. All right, I know this was an hour and a half of just doing game design. I wasn't planning on doing that, but I think it's really, really worth it before tackling a task to just think, what are the potential problems with this task? And I think we can get started. All right, let's close out all the tabs we have. And make a new branch. I'm up to date, right? Yeah. Get checkout dash B, add explorer. All right, so first thing, add a debug button to show all signs. Yeah, let's go do that. This, like I said, is about time that we do this. Town debug menu. Okay, there's grant most things. I guess I want it right here. Show all signs. This should be pretty simple because I think there's a show all remaining signs thing. Does this show everything? Warehouse, vault, enchanter, all the shops, town hall, not the tavern. Because what? The tavern has a special way of showing? Tavern sign. Let's just show if applicable. Yeah, I want to show it regardless. Okay, so we can't do this. So there needs to be like a signs dot debug show all signs. Yeah, then we make that function. So this will be show all remaining signs, then tavern sign dot show. Just take it from there. Anything else? I don't know. Whatever we need that's not there, we can just add to. Is there any other special sign that I'm not thinking of? What do we have here? Alchemist, blacksmith, armorsmith, those are all done. Tavern, guild, yep. Recycler, enchanter, town hall. Recycler, enchanter, town hall. Yeah, recycler is not showing. I wonder if these get freed at some point and that this wouldn't work. Show town hall sign. Okay. No, this might break. Town of tavern is long. Yeah. All right. I think that'll do it. Let's go try that out. Because, yeah, I got to say, it was pretty annoying to have to get 3 items, have to beat a boss, have to wait for an item to disappear. It's like these things were all doable. It's just, even through the debug options, they still took an extra 5 or 10 seconds, and you don't want to spend that long testing. Delegate to an instance method and all of this. So signs hasn't been set up by the time we get to set up debug buttons. This is in run debug functions. Problem solved. Yeah. Can't believe it's Friday already. Hey, unknown. Are you that far ahead? No, I was gonna say. All right, so now we can build the tavern. Let's just make sure these things work. Build enchanter's den, build vault, build armor shop. Oh, what a great feature. Why have I not done this before? In fact, we should probably check this into main. I don't think this feature is going to take that long though. Add debug option to show all signs. Some signs like the tavern and the recycler were have special conditions. Streamed already this week. Yeah, I wanted to spend a little bit more time working on this stuff on stream, just kind of to see what would happen. And I don't know what I'm expecting exactly, but it's been productive. I'm not complaining. So this is done. Manifest boss gimmicks somewhere so we can render them in start battle UI. All right, so all instance data could be the place where we put this. And probably should be, because when we start a battle, we're picking a location. Alternatively, what we could do, instead of just is elite, we could have like elite information and it's optional. And if it exists, then that covers the sake of the Boolean that we had. And it would have what? It'd have the gimmick and the hint. Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So we have this is elite, but we also have, where is that stuff? Something about damage types. Damage type. No, not damage type. Damage something. Info. Yeah. Yeah, we can just do something like this. Okay. So we can say is elite. And instead of getting this, we say something like elite instance data question mark elite instance data equals null. So most things aren't going to have this. And this is just that this is not equal to null. Now we need this to exist. I guess I'll just put it here. And this is going to be string gimmick string hint. Disable that rule we put in records. Why is it saying you don't need it anymore? I didn't disable it, and I don't know why it's been doing that. Because, yeah, the editor config isn't showing up here. And if I were to remove this, it would complain at me. So if well, let's fix the other issues first. Closing brace should be followed by a blank line. It is. Anyway, yeah, if I delete this, then it highlights all of these with SA 1313, which is exactly what we disabled. So I don't know why it's saying that. Maybe it's a bug in the plugin where it's like, well, you don't have a warning here, so then this must not be necessary. It's like, this is what made it not show the warnings. All right, so this should build. I never specify, oh no, it won't build because all instance data is now specifying is elite true when it shouldn't. There are only 2 of those, but we'll fix that in a sec. If there are any other build issues, I'd be surprised. No, yeah, there are not. Okay, so now elite instance data. We have a gimmick. By the way, I don't even know what the gimmick is for this thing. The ogre is just really strong. Hint, get good. I'm not going to fill this in yet. I just want to get this working. The dragon shoots a fireball at everyone in your party every so often. Try not using a summoner because their summons are only going to burn to a crisp. Hey, Chatty Patty, welcome back. Hey, Kesha. Wouldn't surprise me if they broke out their stuff. Oh man, what a shame. It's too bad because it's part of the language. Okay, so we could write it like this, gimmick and then hint. I think that's probably fine. Let's do that. We don't have a gimmick for the ogre. The ogre is just really strong. Hint. Um, try using your strongest party. Maybe there shouldn't even be a hint for this. Just not much else to say. Yeah. Do you like the early access process? Access from the player's perspective or from developer's perspective? Because from a player perspective, I find myself kind of steering away from early access games unless I really, really want to play it. Because I think a lot of games never leave early access. A lot of games sort of use it as an excuse to not have a complete game. From a developer perspective, I think you need to think of like, why am I doing this? Is it for feedback? Is it for money? Is it for, I don't know, publicity? Uh, so I think there are reasons to do it as a developer. I think it's just important to figure out what they are for you if you're going to do it that way. Oh, if it was actually an intellectual, it could be. I don't think it would hit you with a club over and over. All right, so now this should build. I think overall, a lot of early access games are getting better. I think it's hard to say that because if you were to consider how many games are in early access on Steam at any given time, there's probably like way more than the ones you would have personally seen. Is there a way to browse just early access games? Apparently there is. Is there a way to see how many of them there are? Here it is. About 13,000 early access games. That's actually not as many as I would have thought. Because if a game's in early access, well, it never leaves it, then it should always be on this list forever, right? If I hide ignored items, no, it's still that many matches. There's some game. Oh man, how would I find this? Let me see. Arcane Worlds. Is that on here? Arcane Worlds? That's not how you search for this. Hang on. I want to see if this is showing up. What is this game considered? Indie, adventure. Indie doesn't show up? What? What are all these things here if you can't filter by them? Adventure. Okay, that you can filter by. Action. Strategy. All right, so it should show up in here, right? Show more. Do I have to keep clicking that though? What happened? What is going on? Yeah, I think I would need to keep clicking that. Click here to view all matches from the beginning. This is so weird. Does show more actually show more? It does. Yeah, maybe it would show here. There's like 300 of these. Part of the reason I was wondering about this is just, is this like this game I'm thinking of, Arcane Worlds, which is probably never getting finished, was made in 2014. So if it shows on this list, then this is probably just going to keep expanding. But anyway, even the point I was trying to make is not great. Yeah, that might be there. Oh, the filters reset? Oh, come on. All right, thanks. I was against them at one point, but substantial studios are putting out some good early access games. No Rest for the Wicked, Witchfire, Hades. Yeah, I don't think it. I think it's just one of those like consumer beware type of things. If you know what you're getting into and you know there's a chance you'll never actually get this game in a better quality than you currently have it, then yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with that. But I think some people, early access has been around for a long enough time now. But originally, I think some people expected it to be like, this is just a beta. We are definitely going to launch the full thing. So if you spend money on this, it's not going to be a waste. And then more and more people started using it as like, well, why not just launch the game now and have softer expectations and still make money? All right, so we've manifested these and the game built, right? Yeah. So now we would need to show them somewhere. Showing them somewhere is just pulling this data. So I think this should be pretty easy. So yeah, seems pretty reasonable. So let's mark that as done. manifest gimmick and hint data. This isn't shown anywhere in the game yet, but I think it makes the most sense to have this in instance data. Yeah, there's some spaces here I don't want. Also, is it still highlighting this? Closing brace should be followed by a blank line. What? Just reload this. It's always really hard to tell if this is just a stale warning or if it's actually thinking there's a problem here. I'm so confused. Is it because there's a semicolon? Wow. Why was that semicolon even there? Huh. Okay, well, whatever. Hey, Campbell Soup. Wondering if it would have been done better as an early access game. Yeah, and that's one of the things that you can never know. If game X had launched in early access or had not launched in early access, which route would have resulted in more success? Because it can only launch in one of them. Either it goes to direct launch or it goes to early access, and then you'll never know how it would have done because the world has already seen it now. So I think that's another tough thing about this. Like, should Skeleseller go into early access? And I don't have an answer for that. I think what might happen if it were in early access is people would start making assumptions about what is still remaining to be worked on and not just this is a complete game. And if we have something in mind, like we've only released half of the content, then we could just say, that's the only thing you're going to see. If you like the gameplay, expect double of that and you're good. And not, we're going to fix up a bunch of stuff or we've got a lot more polish to do. I think clear communication is really important in early access. All right, so that's done. Add the Explorer. Their sign should show up when you lose a battle to a boss. Okay. So we need another kind of sign. It's going to be the kind of thing you build once, sort of like the vault. And there's a vault sign. So let's go take the vault sign, I guess. What's this script look like? Oh, dead simple. Nice. This shows that we did some decent work on this. So let's save this as... Why is this not in town? Where does this live? Oh my goodness. I don't know why it's not in town, but I'm going to say this alongside this one. No, I shouldn't do that. I should just put it in town. All right, it's going to be the Explorer sign. I think it's dangerous because if they get bored with it after a while, what's the chance that they go back once the game is finished? I don't think that's an early access specific problem. You could launch a game that's incomplete and then never come back and finish it too. And I mean, that's what people used to do before early access existed. They were like, well, let's just launch with what we have and we'll release DLC or we'll update the game. All right, so this is Explorer sign. And that's it. We're done with that. Now we go over to Vault sign. Save this as Explorer sign. Find that. Put it over here. And now change a whole bunch of stuff about this. Oh, wait, drat. The vault isn't something you just build. Whoops. The recycler is. I guess they're very similar. So we'll copy paste this. This is Explorer. Oh, which means it needs to be a different kind of sign altogether. Oh, darn it, did I mess this up? Yeah, whoops. Okay, my bad. All right, let's go fix this. Delete. Goodbye. And let's do this again. Town, Explorer sign, Explorer sign. Okay, we're back to normal over here. Good. So now this should be fine. Now this exists in the right spot. Why is this a problem? No, let's just leave it for now. So initialize town. True means that you don't have to buy it. I think. Not going to tell me. Well, fine. Keep your secrets. Game constants, recycler cost. Yeah, so this is going to be the explorer cost. The explorer cost has to be cheap because if you can't beat a boss, and this tells you how to beat the boss, then you don't want to spend a ton of money. So maybe like 15 gold. Okay. Uh, we have summon garbage slime. So I guess this would be something like build explorer's hut. Explorer helps you teaches you, maybe not teaches, helps teach you, hints, nudges, teaches you how to defeat elite monsters. Something like that. All right, fade it in. When you build it, play the sound ID dot building. Why is it not showing up? Build building. Then town dot create explorer, which we don't have yet. That's fine. And that's pretty good. Okay, next up, town create recycler. We're gonna do something very similar here. This didn't clear any ground out from beneath it. And depending on where we put this, we don't need to clear any ground either. Is there just a blank space somewhere? Because I was thinking of putting them somewhere up here. We'll probably need to clear some ground. Yeah, maybe if we put it like here. Okay, well, we'll figure that out. Create explorer. Public explorer, explorer. All right, all the recycler stuff can just change to explorer. Yep. And then replant that tree. No, we're not doing it. All right, now we need the explorer scene. What is the recycler scene? It's a, oh, this is a sprite. What is the explorer scene going to be? I guess it's going to look kind of like the tavern, maybe. What's the closest thing? The guild. I think the guild is closest. Yeah, something like that. So let's save this as the explorer. Well, actually, we should call it the explorer hut. Yeah, we should call it the explorer hut, which means we need to change everything that I've just done. Explorer hut. Rename this. Probably, well, we definitely need to change the guild master. But let's just leave that as is for now, I guess. And we need to change all this other stuff too. All right, so this should change to create explorer hut. Looks good. We need a new script for this. This is using the guild. So let's make explorer hut. I'm probably going to delete all of this. Yeah, probably going to get rid of everything. Okay, so now it should be able to find this in the code, right? Oh, that's why. All right, I don't need that. I don't know about initializing anything here. There was a town and whether you've done the first battle or whatever. I'm just going to delete this for right now. Then hide the explorer sign, which we never even got. I never put it in the game. We need to do that. Signs, instantiate explorer sign. I'm going to put you way over here somewhere. Where is a good place for you to be? Trying to find a nice blank area, maybe like here. It's got to be in the middle of the ground though. Maybe here, on top of these flowers. I don't know. I'm just gonna put this somewhere. It doesn't matter. We'll figure out a better location in a bit. Why isn't this showing up though? The other signs show up. Why won't you? Huh, strange. I don't think it's just building this, because this is just a scene file. Yeah, strange. Oh, because this is higher up in the world. Oh my God. This is going to show up once we drag it down to here. Yeah, oh man. It's a z-index problem. I mean, we can just change the z-index of this, but I don't think any of this ground should be at a higher z-index. Yeah, I think we need to reform the environment. Well, I'm not going to do that right now. So for now, we'll just set this to be higher until it shows up. 3 will do it. All right, now to go get that thing. So guild sign, we have explorer sign. Cool. Hide it? I don't actually want to hide it by default. Well, we're going to need to eventually, so let's comment it out. We don't have an init, and we're going to need one. All right, so public void show explorer sign. Hey, nameless. If the explorer HUD is null, then show the sign. Cool. Fading in isn't going to matter. No one's ever going to be looking at this, but we're doing it anyway. All right, so what are we doing here? We have the sign. We have a way of building this thing. We're not clearing out the ground. We need to clear out the ground. And we need to, well, we don't need to rebake the navigation mesh, I guess. What? Why do we do this? Why do we do this? Set the position of this thing? Yeah. I guess that makes sense. I guess we'll do this like we did with the enchanter though. And we'll clear out the ground for it. So I'll just copy this in the explorer. Okay, so all of this stuff should change to explorer HUD. So we get the width and the height. It's using get size here, which we have defined, which will go through the tile maps. Then I don't think we want to position this specially here. The buildings node, adding it, we can do there. We don't need to rebake the navigation mesh. Nothing can path over to that. We don't need an init yet. We don't show a sign. We can hide that one. Clear ground for it. Yeah, nice. Is dismissible a word? Just notice a warning in one of our files. It should be dismissible with an I and not an A. But I don't see dismissible showing up with an A anywhere. Yeah. Okay, let's try this out. Maybe it'll work. Dialog data.cs. I don't think it can be there because it's not showing up when I search for it. Oh yeah, it's not. You typed it with an A. This does not show up anywhere in the code base. Yeah. So we should see this sign. Yeah, there it is. Are you on an old commit? You probably are. Teaches you how to defeat elite monsters. Build. It disappeared. Disappeared because of the Z index. So we need the Explorer Hut to be at a higher Z index. That on its own should make this show up, but it didn't, which means there could be a different problem here. No. Strange. What if we just keep increasing this? No, it's still not showing up. Just updated the battle map PR. Should be good for review. Wow, okay, yeah. I will write that down. Putting NPC up there. Tile map, cleaner. Will probably make it look weird. Oh, because of the higher Z index? It might not even be clearing this. Yeah, I was going to put an NPC up here. But I don't think we should have any of this stuff be higher Z index at all. All of this can just be the same level as Z index. And if anything, only these ridges might need to change, but that's it. Hey, Batman. How are you doing? I don't know if this is showing up. Oh. Okay, well, let's type Explorer, and let's see where it tried to create it, I guess. 312.16. That should be... Nope, that's not right there. Wait, what? 312.16? That means it would be like down here somewhere. Yeah. Oh, whoops. Whoops. This should have been the Explorer sign. Yeah, my bad. And then I think we need to set this back to a Z index of like 3. But yeah, as Dark mentioned, I think this is going to break. Yeah, it doesn't know how to clear all of these. Well, why doesn't it? How does that work? Because what, we only cleared 2 different things? Yeah, world objects. No, we go through every layer. Yeah, this should be okay. Can I click this? I can't because I deleted the clicking thing. Is the sign positioned correctly? It's not. But there's a bigger problem here because it looks like it's deleting more than a tile. Although maybe it isn't. But it's also not clearing out these trees, and I feel like it should be. Oh, wait, it's not even clearing the full width of this. Why is that the case? That would suggest that it's getting the wrong size. Maybe I passed in the wrong thing. Explore sign. Yeah, because of this garbage. Okay. Is that what we did for the enchanter den? Why did we do this? Did we do this? Oh, because we were off by 1? And the guild doesn't have that problem? And the guild is what I copied? All right, maybe what we should do is just go make the final scene. We don't have a smaller house, right? But the closest we could get to that is we just delete part of this house. How do we do that? Oops, what am I doing? I don't know, we can't. It's gonna still have that window there. Do we have any tiles that... What atlas is this using? I don't even see this building over there. Oh, there it is. Do we have just a blank wall section? No. We don't. So we have this. We could maybe make... No, that's a roof though, right? Yeah, it's a roof. Okay, never mind. I don't think we have the wall section I need. No. Is it in the other one? That one has it, or at least it kind of looks like that's correct. So if I just use a different tile set, we could maybe get it to work. Yeah. Yeah. Is that a tile on its own? Right, so if we just get the opposite of that, I do think we need a different tile map for that. Yeah, I think we do. Oh man. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess let's add it in. Atlas exterior. And now in the tile map, we go find that one graphic. Is it this? Okay, I think that worked. Now we just delete the rest of this. Let's turn this off. Oh, whoops. I can't delete that part of the roof. We need the roof over here. It looks a little weird. Yeah, this needs to jut out a little bit more. Oh, come on. Do we have that graphic? No. Yeah, we need a tile that goes all the way to the side. I don't think we have that. We don't. Oh, well. Had to manually create it in the atlas because the tiles wouldn't match. Hopefully it'll be enough for this. You place the one on the left of the door and flip it. Can you flip things like that? Flip horizontally. Wow, yeah. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah, we should be able to. So we click this. And then flip it. That's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, it's good enough for now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So then the hut actually probably shouldn't have any ground layer whatsoever. It should probably just be the hut. I think I want to delete this entire thing. Cool. Now the static body we can also delete because this is not pathable. Same for the roof. Oh yeah. The roof looked fine to me. Actually, would that fix things? I'm not even sure. I guess we need to fix this roof one. Flip and put it there. And then same thing with this. Flip and put it there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks. I didn't know about that. And then put the person next to this somewhere, like here. Great. Okay, so how is this gonna look in the game? Because I guess we don't need to clear the ground at all now. Or hopefully we don't. Although it's still gonna try. And it's positioning it kind of weirdly too. Negative width -1. What is the width of this in tiles? 1, 2, 3. I'll just delete this. Yeah, that should look fine. Moves everything all layers. There's a base ground layer that should never be touched. The base ground fill only. What? Why is that a problem though? Because I thought that was just for when we set up the map the very first time. I thought after that we could delete it. Okay, other than this tree being there. We can make this show up on top of those bushes and whatever. But I think we should probably just move the sign so that we don't run into a problem with this. Something like that. And that. Why is it still positioning it there? Oh, because it's... No, wait. Yeah, why is that happening? I moved the sign. This is showing up in the right spot, isn't it? It's like right next to that plant. Yeah, it is right next to that plant. But then it builds it to the right. Oh, I think I know why. I think because I didn't position this at 0, 0. Yeah, my bad. All right, let's fix that. That's not what I meant to do. Do that. Put this here, I guess. And then delete this stuff. And move the guild master. Is this set to snap? I don't want this. Okay, so now we don't center. Maybe I should have just centered this. We wouldn't have had any problem. Oh my god, I sure love doing this. Sure love messing everything up. We could center it so that I guess you have to move the tile map at that point. And I don't even see a problem with that. We could just put this here. So now it'll get put exactly where the sign is. It'll be the only building that works that way. Yep. And we just don't need to subtract this anymore. And then we don't need this either. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. That's probably how we should change every building then. Get rid of like 6 lines of code and just have it go where the sign is. Okay, I like it. Now let's just make it show up on top. We should be able to just do this. Oh, I'm changing the guild master. I'm being a dummy. There we go. Yeah, cool. All right, then we just bump the guild master to the side. Whoops, not the whole thing, just the guild master. Put you over there so you're not behind a tree. We need you to be a little bit more visible there. Hooray. Doesn't really make sense that there'd be flowers popping out of the side of this, but I'm just going to say it's fine for now. All right, nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I don't think I'm actually going to touch the other buildings now. But I think it'd be nice to remove that code eventually, but it's probably never going to happen. At the Explorer, there's signs that show when you lose a battle to a boss. Okay, so we need to know that you've lost a battle, and it's got to be to a boss specifically. Do we have anything for lost a battle? Lost a battle? No, but we have that a battle ended. And that would come from Instances Manager. On battle ended. Here it is. That should have the result. It does. Give me a sec. I have to sneeze. Excuse me. There's an on battle 1. What does that do? Just beat instance for first time. Yeah, we want it to be like that you lost the instance. Thank you. All right, ended battle.invoke. So the sign thing can just listen to this. Does it already listen for it? It listens for something similar. No, it's just beating an instance. All right, so town.ended a battle plus equal on battle ended. We maybe want to make that you lost to, no. I don't know. If it works, it works. All right, this will be at the bottom here. So if you lost and the, well, how about if it's not a loss? Let's just return. Then get the instance data. Is elite should be there. So if it's elite and you lost, then we show the explorer sign. Easy peasy. Now we hide this in here and we go test it out. So when you lose a battle, it shouldn't do anything. But when you lose a boss battle, it should show you the sign. So if I just zoom out, we don't see the sign up here. And if I go enter a battle and then lose it, yeah, nothing happens. But if I were to go to a boss location and lose that battle, then it shows up. And then we can build this thing. So if you win every single boss battle, you'll never get this building. But bosses scale infinitely, so it's not like you stop yourself from getting the building. And also, the building has no purpose if you're winning all the fights anyway. Because all it's doing is telling you how to win those fights. So yeah. And then what we should probably do is anytime you lose a boss battle and you haven't unlocked the hint for it, maybe indicate that you could get a hint. I need to think of how that's going to work. Action. Consolidate. It's these two things. Yeah. These should just be merged into one issue, I think. Buildings, upgrades. You'd want to know that you have another hint you can buy. I think that'd be a polish thing. Buying hints from the Explorer. We should probably surface this if you've lost a battle to a boss and you've never beaten that boss. That way it's apparent that a hint might help. Yeah. All right, well, this is done. Just going to review the code. Explorer sign. Recycler doesn't have autoplay default anymore. That's bad. That's really bad, right? How did that even happen? I might have accidentally pressed something, but I don't think I did. This has autoplay on load set. What? I'm confused. Yeah, I'm confused. And this is not helping. Animated sprite no longer has autoplay equals default. Maybe it doesn't need to say it when it's the default, because it looks like this is still working. I guess let's just go build the recycler and see. Yeah, they're still working. Okay. Maybe set an NPC. Yeah. I guess I'll just check that in. Get rid of extraneous property. The garbage slime still animates correctly. So this apparently wasn't needed. All right, going back to the diff. Explorer sign, explorer cost. Does it just work? Wait a sec, do we show the explorer sign? I don't think we do. There's that debug function. Yeah, show explorer sign. Do we have a show recycler sign? We do. Then we could have done this. And that's not in all remaining signs? Nope. Tavern sign doesn't have this concept. Okay, we're gonna go make it. Might as well save a little bit of typing, huh? Public void show to oh, this could be private. Nothing does this externally. And we should put it up here. Show tavern sign. If town.tavern is not null or is null, then show it. Get rid of this, put this down here, show tavern sign. Cool. And now we can do that same thing from the debug function. And why did I do any of this? Because I wanted to test, oh, we have a cost money, right? So all the signs should show, the important ones being the tavern, the garbage slime, and the explorer. And we have 100 gold. We click build. It goes on 85. Yeah. What a tiny little hut. All right, back to the diff. Yeah, we have all this stuff. This isn't needed because we don't do anything here. We don't need this. We don't need any of that. In fact, there's a guild master in the scene, which we could delete, but we're going to need to use it. Why did everything change in this file? This is very scary. That's not good. What happened? All right, ignoring that for now. Let's look at signs. Signs looking good. Looking good, yeah. Oh, that's fixed. Finds cold coffee 3 hours later. Well, if it's not any like ultra fancy coffee, you could just heat it up again, right? I think it's generally roughly the same taste. Next time though, put an air tag in your coffee. Yeah, this is looking good. Cool. All right, so add explorer's hut. Add the explorer hut. This isn't functional yet, but it does properly show up when you lose a battle with a boss. What do you think about current web development market? I'm not really plugged into the market. I suspect that AI is still gonna claw a portion of that out rather than adding to it. But I don't have proof of that. We should publish this branch. Okay, now for these things. I think we're probably gonna end the stream. I know it's only been about 2.5 hours, but I haven't taken a break, that was stupid. I should have taken one. And I knew at the hour and a half mark, I'm like, I could start coding this. It's right when we got done with the design. I thought, yeah, I'll just code it. That should have been time for a break. But also, this is what tomorrow's probably going to look like. And it's not like we have a shortage of amount of time that we're working on this. I've been putting a lot of time towards Skeleseller. Yeah, this is both of these are just done now. Just find a task. All right, let's fill out the journal. Only streamed for about, well, only worked on stream for about 2.5 hours, which isn't bad. Mostly focused on game design, reimagined how to solve two problems. Boss feedback and the difficulty stuff. Yeah. Gutted the difficulty slider feature. And came up with the Explorer. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit. That's a good trick. Host website and GitHub Codespace. What's GitHub Codespace? Oh, I see. Wait, hosting in here. What's the trick? This sounds like just a development environment. I guess you could have a site that someone like connects to and then builds themselves, but that doesn't sound like a very good trick. Yeah, I'm not sure I follow Ayush. Hey, Ellison, welcome in. I think, by the way, I'm just going to hang out for a little bit. We can chat about stuff. But yeah, I think I'm going to do the rest of this stuff off stream. Well, some of it. Even then, I don't want to do too much. I've been working quite a lot. And I wrote down what I thought the difficult tasks were. This one honestly isn't too bad. Consolidating actionable things, autosave, these aren't too bad either. We can make some pretty good progress on checkpoint 5 by the end of next week. And that gives us probably about a month to just balance the game, make things better, tackle the other issues. So I think that's what we're going to do. Yeah. Showcase battle panel UI before leaving. Pretty happy with the result. Yeah, sure. Support forward feature in VS Code. Yeah, but does it really gain you something that just hosting on like GitHub Pages doesn't let you do? Or something like Vercel or Next if you need a more fully featured site? Because what am I hosting things on? I'm hosting something on GitHub Pages. I think, I don't actually recall where I'm hosting this. Yeah, I don't know where I'm hosting this, but I think it's GitHub Pages. Yeah. Anyway, Battle UI, let's go take a look. Git status, looking good. GHPR list. Check out the 459. Yeah. I'm really happy this has come together. I am looking forward to seeing this. Did I manage to close that? I did. Okay, so now I'm going to click start battle. Actually, what happens if we don't have any? Yeah, that still works the same way. But if we do have stuff in there, whoa. Where did these graphics come from? What's that comma 1 in there? Level 1, comma 1. Oh, it's how many adventurers you can have? I see. And what is this doing here? Oh, do I need to pull this again? I shouldn't have to, right? I know, already up to date. Huh. Uh, what is going on with that, Kevin? I'm not sure I follow what this is. Is it what's selected? Maybe it's what's selected. Oh, I see. It is what's selected. Okay, got it. Put a comment in the PR how I made it. It's a nice web app. Also, that's a Unicode symbol. I guess it doesn't render. Oh, there's a symbol in between these? I should just look at the PR. Where is the PR? Here. Try to solve some issues and annoyances people had. Separation between that. Yep. Hover over them. There's a tooltip that tells you the name of the place and the rewards you get from beating it. When you want to battle in a location, you select that dot on the map. By the way, we probably need to make the dots a pretty large click area, like anywhere in this general region, just so it's not so tiny. Hey, Prestel, just accent at this point. All right, when you want to do this, select that dot, select the party you want to send there, click on start battle, it'll send that party to the instance. This is not possible in the prototype. I'm guessing since this is no longer a prototype that it now is possible. Yeah, it looks like it's possible. Select the level of elites. You can redo previous levels. To unlock new location, click on augment portal. Unlock a new location. Path to it is highlighted in the map. Yeah. Oh, here we go. New battle UI is done. For anything else, this is how it looks in game. Oh, I see. There's a little person indicator there. Yeah, we only really need that for the bosses anyway, I think. Because we're going to up everything else to 6 players. But we could keep it regardless. Okay, made the map image with incarnate. In the link, you can access it and clone it to make edits. The tool is pretty intuitive and powerful. Only limitation of the free version is only a handful of objects you can place. Is this meant for like D&D campaigns? Where's the about section? Oh, neat. And then what do they say about using this? Yeah, personal use. Okay, so in order to use this, we need to spend money apparently per year. So yeah, we'll need to replace this with our own graphics. Kind of silly that you can't just pay for one of the maps you make. Yeah. Anyway, it looks cool, and I like the idea. Doesn't match the rest of the game. Trying to make the maps the tile maps. That's totally fine. Yeah, I think we did pay for an asset pack, which I'm not going to go find in my hard drive. But if I go to Super Retro World, itch, this one. There is an overworld pack. It just doesn't have a lot in it. So here are the kinds of things we could make. We probably could do something like this. But yeah, there'd be a lot of extra graphics we'd probably need. Hey, Smash Boy. Do I have a designer who's making the assets for the game? We do have an artist working on the game. But there were also asset packs that were used. That or pay 1 month. Oh, I missed that. Oh, I see. For like $5. I wonder what the commercial license. It looked like it was a link. Where's their commercial license? In terms of use, maybe? Like, if I pay once, can I use it forever? For any commercial purposes, unless you agree to the terms of commercial license and you make payment in full, this includes but is not limited to not using the content for the promotion or advertisement of any goods, services, or opportunities. And you may not use the website to solicit other website visitors or users to become members of, subscribe to, or register with any commercial online sir-vis or other so weird. Other organization or nor collect or store personal data. I guess it doesn't fully clarify that. Non-transferable, non-sublicensable, non-exclusive, worldwide license to use the website to create user content for personal and commercial purposes for a period of 1 year. What? Own any rights? Upon termination of the license, you have the right to export, use, and continue. You should no longer have the right to use the website. Okay. So you do get to keep it, it sounds like. Yeah. All right. Will this be a full 5-day stream week? It will be, but today's stream won't be too much longer, I think. Also, hey, Crazen. All right, let's go back to reading this. The scene then is an image with a bunch of images and textures that represent locations. Routes are added automatically based on these points. Means changing the map only requires us to change the points. Currently, the map makes 2 assumptions. Each instance ID will have a point, and the forest is the first location. That's fine. So I give the map scene a size of 1,000 by 500, so it doesn't really scale or resize with the window. Panel goes beyond the window, I see. Yeah. Yeah, we could make it so that we could pan this. I mean, or zoom, maybe. I'm not sure, though. Okay, locations. This is with the current ones. If it adds new locations, we need to update the points, maybe the map. Points and routes have plain textures with a color. Some other textures of that, leave this for the future. Panel is really simple, a bunch of containers and instances. Give a better matching style, yep. Not rename the save data, I'm not sure it's worth it. Yep, that's fine. If you have any major concerns with this, please let me know. Won't have a lot of time before I go on vacation. Feel free to change anything too. Let me know what you think. I didn't show the boss's updated level. Yeah, okay. I think this looks great so far. And I think it already solves so many problems that it's great that we have this. So if I show this so that I'm not blocking as much as possible with my cameras, for those who hadn't seen this, some of the problems that this solves, one is that you can now click the portal to open this UI, which is what everyone expected to do. Because when you repeat a battle, your adventurers have to go into the portal. So like this witch doctor is walking into the portal. So people are like, oh, to start a new battle, I'll click the portal, right? And that wasn't what you had to do. That was how you augmented the portal. You had to click start battle at the upper right. So we can keep this button up there. That's fine. But then we can also have the portal go to this. And that's also how you'll upgrade this so that you can go to new locations. We probably could get rid of this entirely and make it so that when you don't have a location, so let's say I want to go to here, I could just buy it or unlock it by clicking the dot. Yeah. Other problems that this solved, it wasn't super obvious when you had someone in the battle party or not. Now it is definitely obvious because they're totally separate sections of the UI. So I think this will be really good. It wasn't clear how far into the game you'd gotten. It wasn't clear what the rewards were from a particular location. And now once you beat that location, it'll tell you. Yeah, small blue potion. We should probably consider having the item graphics in here too. But yeah, in general, this is just it's a huge improvement for so much of the game. Do we have that updated stone texture? I don't think we do. And I think we probably should get that at some point. Yeah, I'll have to review that at some point, maybe today. It does change quite a lot of files. Let's take a quick look. Yeah. Wow. The game's definitely coming together. Yeah, I think checkpoint 5 will be really good for new players. I think it's going to clarify a lot of things. Tried adding a sub viewport there to make it work with pan and zoom, but I couldn't have it work as I wanted. I didn't spend a lot of time on that. Yeah, I think it's okay. And I think if it gets cut off a little bit, it's fine as long as you can still use the UI, but we do probably need to solve that eventually. We need to think about what we want to do for that. Yeah. All right, I think I need to get going. I streamed nonstop for 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I mean, that's not a long time, but I really should have taken a break. And I'll be back online tomorrow anyway. So let's see who's online this time of day. You know, we're going to host Honest Dan. He's been streaming for 6 hours, but he's been doing some charity content, and he'll probably go a little bit longer. So let's check in. Thank you all for watching. I'm sorry this is a little bit like lower energy stream, kind of a little bit all over the place with game design and some development. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with how it went, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Have a good time in Dan's stream, and let's find out why this isn't actually changing seeds here. Strange. All right, I'll just click the button myself. Take care, everyone. See ya.